Well, it's been a road, a long road, since we left the ACC tournament in Greensboro, and a lot of things have happened around the country. Obviously, our guys have been, at home and then practicing, and it's been a long fall. And I know there's cancellations all around the country, and I think that's going to be a little bit of what we see throughout the season. But I know we're really anxious, and our guys are excited to get it rolling for real tomorrow against Evansville. So with that, I'll take the questions that you have.
Start with Kent and then go to Jody.
Chris, is everybody in your all's bubble, are they going to be good to go? And just everything that we've seen in college basketball, I guess, within the last 24 hours, do you have to preach flexibility to your team because you never know what's going to happen?
Ken, I think they know that. Our guys are young adults, and they have to make adjustments just like we all have to. So they've been doing it, whether it's class going virtual, whether it's finishing up with exams at home rather than in the classroom. All the things that we have had to do, as a society, our guys have to deal with it too. So I think they understand flexibility, and like I said before, they're just really anxious to get going. As far as availability, we have pretty much everybody on our roster. Obviously, Malik and Charles are out. Josh Nickelberry's getting close, but I don't expect him to be able to play here in the first few games. But other than that, we're, I guess that's full strength.
To Jody.
Yeah, Chris, you talked last week about Samuel and just being back. How has his progression been in the last week or so as he's been back to practice?
It's been great. Jody, he raises the level of competitiveness when he's back on the floor. Sam's extremely competitive. I think, he learned a lot from year one to year two. I know he was disappointed that he couldn't be on the practice floor each and every day. But the one thing I don't have to worry about with Sam is, where his mind's at. He's in the gym doing what he could every single day. He probably works harder than anybody on our team at his individual game. We didn't have to, 5-on-0 a ton more because Sam's head is in practice even when he's out. So he can visually see what's happening on the floor, points of emphasis that we make, whether it's an angle on a screen, where he needs to be. And because he's so loves the game of basketball, it puts him in a good place when he gets back on the floor. And so although he hasn't had a full preseason, Sam's done a really good job of acclimating himself here in the last week and a half.
Go to Russ and then Shannon.
Yeah, Chris, Russ Brown. Given all the inexperience and new faces and so forth, what are some of your concerns going into this season, especially the early part of the season?
Well, haven't played a game. You haven't, had to deal with foul trouble. You haven't, had to be trusted and relied upon. And anytime you have players that are inexperienced, sometimes they have to learn the hard way, Russ. So we'll take those things as they come. We'll try to get better at it. I think players will learn through game experience, both positive and negative experience, and we'll be better because of it. But, when you're a fresh young guy out of college and you want a job, so often people won't hire you because you lack experience. And you say, well, I can't get experience if you don't hire me. And same thing when it comes to playing. So I think our guys are going to get that game experience that they've so desired here for the last year or so. And it's coming fast and furious starting at 4 tomorrow.
To Shannon.
Hey, Coach. Shannon Russell, Courier-Journal. Can you speak again, maybe elaborate on the foresight of having a bubble? Because as teams are starting to kind of fall away with COVID, you guys have all teams coming, some maybe a little bit late, but you've got this setup that is going to protect you. And then my follow-up is, what will you do for all those 10 days when you're there besides game plan and play games?
Sure. Well, the bubble's not foolproof. I think around the country, Shannon, you see teams that are, popping a positive and test, and now they're forced to leave. I know Mohegan Sun, for instance, has a ton of different teams. But it's not like those kids or the staff members contracted COVID, while being on the premises. They brought it with them. So, let's hope, knock on wood, that doesn't happen in our situation. Now, the teams that have come to the bubble have been asked to test 3 times a week, 2 weeks prior to coming, and all those tests have been negative so far. So we continue to knock on wood and, hope that we can go ahead, with playing the entire bubble. I do think that, the protocols that U of L Health, that the Galt House, the Yum Center have put into play are going to help. But, there's also a luck factor, and we cross our fingers and hope that we're able to get through all these games without any cases breaking out.
And what will you guys do besides game prep and play? I mean, just to be there for that long amount of time.
Yeah, for the coaching staffs, as you know, the games come too fast. So when we get finished with our game against Evansville, we'll turn our attention to Seton Hall immediately. From me getting prepared and watching film, so much of what we're watching is last year's film because nobody has played a game yet. But that's okay. We're all in the same boat. The players will have the opportunity to prepare. Certainly there'll be meals. We have a few things for them in terms of like a lounge area where they can meet with their family, socially distanced, of course. The spread that the Galt House has put up for each team, on their floor is excellent. So there's a little gaming area, again, not congregating in groups, being smart. We have a fuel station that's set up in a room for snacks. Obviously, there's a lot of recovery that goes within playing games with, such a short period of time. So I don't think there'll be as much idle time as maybe one might think. When you're a fan, you just go 4 o'clock on Wednesday, and then you turn to Saturday. Hey, or Thursday, Friday, what time are we playing? And there's so much that goes into it when you're a coach or a player. So there'll be plenty to do.
Go to Dominique.
Yeah, Coach, obviously you've talked a lot about, you've had some guys banged up here and there. So heading into the game, do you feel like everybody is, you can say, in shape, game ready, and ready to get going?
Yeah, you as a coach would want to have, 12 months of lead time for your first game. As a player, you need about 12 hours, and you're like, I'm good, coach. I know the plays, I'm ready to go. So in terms of being in shape, I think our guys are where they need to be. I think we've been back since the beginning of June, and, we've ramped it up as time has gone on. And so, there's nothing like playing the game and then having to recover and get prepared for the next day. And so this bubble is going to teach us a lot. But I think physically, our team's in good shape.
Go to Kent Taylor, followed by Kent Spencer.
Coach Kent Taylor from Wave TV. As far as David goes, he struggled. He had the injury last year, and then he showed us so many flashes. What is noticeably improved about his game to you? Is he a noticeably better shooter? I'm sure he has more confidence now. What kind of things stand out to you?
Yeah, I think David's made a leap in a lot of different areas, Ken. It'd probably be difficult for me to just say he got better in just this one area. I think he's a markedly better defender than he was a year ago. He needs to be. I think he's a lot more vocal than he's ever been since I've known him. And I think, to be fair to Dave, he was a freshman last year that started late, missing so much time with the shoulder injury. And then when he transitions onto the team, in full capacity health-wise, he's got fifth-year seniors all around him. So that's a little difficult situation to start telling people where to go and what to do and where to be. So I think David's, grown vocally for sure. I think he's a much better shooter. And I think the one thing offensively that we're really excited about is I think he's really slowing down, really slowing down, not always trying to beat you with just sheer speed and sheer quickness. And it keeps him a lot more under control and able to see the floor much better. And we all know Dave has tremendous vision, but it gets markedly better when he slows down. I think that's what he's done so far as a sophomore. And we got to make sure that when the games come around, we keep him playing at that same slow pace.
Kent Spencer.
Yeah, Chris, you kind of answered it, I think, one time. This is just real quick, but all of your teams so far in the bubble are good to go, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and then
I haven't checked Twitter in the last 3 minutes, but yeah.
So this is the second thing. You know, as college football was kind of gearing up, a couple coaches even said like they were not as physical, and it showed in the first couple of games of the first game. As far as like physicality in practice, were you guys kind of business as usual, or did you guys kind of do things a little different as you lead up? And is that one of those maybe concerns?
Yeah, I would say other than our players wearing masks, Kent, it was business as usual. We obviously took the necessary precautions, especially outside of the practice court. Contact tracing is going to be what it's going to be until, maybe we get a path where we're on everyday testing like the NBA, and then you just simply remove the player that gets a positive test. But, we've been business as usual.
Go to Paul Rogers. You're muted, Paul. Okay, we'll go ahead and go to Jody. There you go, Paul. Go ahead.
Okay, Chris, obviously you're guessing a lot, but with the rough season Evansville had last year, and I think they got about half the team back, about half of them newcomers, just generally, what are you looking for from them?
Well, I think, Coach Licklider is very respected in our business and our profession. Paul, he's a guy that has been known to run sets and more sets and counters to those sets. So, in the half court, we're going to face a team that I think is going to be really pride itself on execution. The kid Coleman at the 5 position can really, really shoot and really, really pass. And that's a challenge because, for us, that's an inexperienced position with Malik going out. And so we're going to have to make sure that, we do a really good job of playing his ball screens and recovering. They have a veteran backcourt, with Newton and Givens back that, are capable of getting in the lane. And so, much like I'm sure when they watch film, they're saying, well, Sutton's gone, War is gone. We can do the same thing with, some of their players. But college basketball to me is, the faces, change, but the programs remain, and they'll be a lot better in his first full season as opposed to sort of picking up the pieces on what happened last year.
We'll take 2 more questions from Jody and then Shannon.
Chris, Vince talked yesterday about how lucky we are to have the Yum Center where you can spread out the way the floor is, that you're far enough away from the fans to not be cramped up like a lot of places. Just your thoughts when you saw the glass up, when you saw nothing down there, of the way that arena can be such a home court advantage, and how now it might not be this year for you guys.
Yeah, it is what it is, Jody. I mean, not to dismiss your question, but I'm not going to worry about all the things that go, along and around the pandemic. I mean, it is what it is. Our guys want to play basketball. I'm going to worry about, coaching underneath out of bounds plays and defensively playing screening actions the way we need to, and getting substitutions in when they should be, and foul trouble. I'm not going to worry about, any of the other stuff and give my opinion on it. It's a waste of time right now, to be honest with you. I got to worry about our team and getting them ready to go.
Shannon, to close it out.
So much of what you guys do is preparing yourselves and worrying more about yourselves, worrying about the opponent. So what do you want to see tomorrow that you would consider the opener a success for Louisville?
Yeah, that's a great question. I always tell our team that they should be the same. They should be the same on the practice floor as they are on the game floor. If we demand, high communication during practice, we shouldn't be, shouldn't feel like a library when the game comes around. If we demand physicality on the glass when the shot goes up, we shouldn't miss blockouts. And, this is going to be a test for our guys because, again, a lot of them are inexperienced. Not that we're playing in front of 19,000 fans, but we're playing for real. Different players in different uniforms, and everything that Jody said, the funky environment. You still have to be who you are on the practice floor every single day. And if we're close and we're competing our tails off, then that's all I can ask, and we'll figure out a way to improve as we march forward.
Coach, thank you for today. Thanks for everybody joining us, and we look forward to getting it started tomorrow. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.